Unheard, presented and produced by Unicorns Live. I'm your host, Jessica Samuels, and I'm here each week and as we endeavor to present to you the underrepresented stories in our community. And my guest tonight is
Biawanna, and I'm here to talk about being fabulously sad in Vancouver.
Okay, fabulously sad. All right, well, we'll get back to that. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge that we work, live, and play on the ancestral, traditional, and unceded lands of the Okanagan Nation and Syilx people. I'd like to say thank you to the Canada Hotel and Conference Center for providing this space here tonight. I'd also like to say thank you to show sponsors Kelowna Pride and Castanet. And now back to Biawanna. Okay, first, we'll get to that statement. I'd like to say your name, though, Biawanna. That name, to me, when I heard that, has a sense of strength about it.
Oh, really?
That's what I got.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's what I feel, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
My great-great-grandma from the Solomon Islands. She was like a matriarch of the islands over there. And she gave birth to a long line of chiefs who I'm one of the descendants of, and
Wow.
that's where I got that name from. So it's very empowering to kind of harness the energy of that name in my music and stuff.
Right. When did you embrace that name? When did you take it on?
Well, I think it was like almost 2 years. Well, a year and a half now. And a half, yeah.
And is it just because at that time you heard that name, or what made you take it on at that time?
I think I was in a bunch of like various bands before I started this project, and I was talking to my auntie, and she was telling me stories of where we come from, and as I was growing, like going through all these bands and things, I wanted something to come out that was more personal. And hearing that name, I was like, okay, that's it. And it felt free to be able to say what I actually wanted to say rather than having to go through other people in a creative way, if that makes any sense.
It does. So taking on that name coincided with you described it as a project, but you becoming a solo artist. Is that
yeah, basically.
Okay, and so kind of that empowering. This is my voice. This is who I am.
Exactly. Yeah.
Your previous band, was it Carousel?
Yeah, and I've been in other bands too.
Okay. Okay. Was it a change in music as well, or?
Yeah, I think I really always wanted to go into more R&B pop music, and with this project, I went where I wanted to go with my writing and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, were these other bands not places where you wanted to go, or were you in a journey of discovery?
Yeah, I think it was more, I needed to do it for myself, I think. The other bands and things were more like rock oriented and like punk, which is cool. Like I love doing that. Like for a while I was doing like emo nights with my other friends, like emo punk music and stuff, which is really fun and everything. But I think my heart is also in R&B, soul, pop music too. So
right,
it's just also cool to like try new things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Being a woman of color.
Yeah.
In the rock and emo. How common is that? I mean, I'm not familiar with the scene.
You brought it up.
Okay. Oh, okay. I do. Settle in, everyone. I thought maybe it was just me. I didn't know, but
no, totally. You're right. Like that's why it's cool to me to be like the only woman of color and queer person on these bills singing rock music and such back in the day. it's cool. Like, it feels cool, but isolating at the same time. But I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I don't care. It's fun. We can do it too.
Was that part of the hook of the bands? Like, do you think that's what helped with the popularity and people coming out to see?
Interesting question. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about it that way. I only... Yeah, I'm not sure. What do you think? What do you think about this subject?
What do I think? I think
Yeah.
it would be a hook.
Yeah.
I think it would be, especially your initial reaction to it, and to say, okay, yeah, this is a thing.
Yeah.
I think when people look for bands and music, they look for something obviously that speaks to them, but something a little bit different. Plus,
Yeah,
when you
totally.
say to me like punk, isn't punk like anti-establishment,
Yes.
right?
So it is basically like who I am anyway, to be honest.
Okay.
So it's just, that's why it's so strange, and it can be so isolating too, is because when you're in those spaces and you don't really see yourself in a space where like even being who you are is what everyone's trying to say, like anti-establishment and all these things. It's just kind of strange. You feel me? Like being the only one who looks like me in these spaces. I think it's also like not getting a lot of recognition too, in these spaces in history where people of color have been like the driving people behind these kinds of music, like in the punk, rock, blues. I've definitely like felt that in those spaces as well, where it's like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
More people like me are not at the forefront. It's a very layered question, I think.
Yeah.
Subject.
It is, and
We could
it's
talk about it for hours, I think. So.
okay.
I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to even think back in my own mind, people of color fronting various bands or even being parts of, and a few pop in
Yeah.
my head, but it's not something. Well, did you grow up listening to that type of music?
Yeah,
What did-
totally.
okay.
Yeah.
So is that what drew you to it initially?
Yeah. Also the vibes, though, being like angry and stuff. Sad and angry, like, oh.
Okay.
I need to scream or something, I don't know, in a
Right.
constructive way. And
Right.
screaming into a mic is nice at times. If people in the audience are vibing with it, it's fun. It's fun to release some pent up like energy in a way that's not hurtful to others. And you can do that in those kinds of music, I think.
People almost expect that you do that in
Yeah.
those types of music.
Yeah. That's why it'll always hold a place in my heart as much as like R&B and soul and pop does.
Right.
Like, yeah.
So you use that as an expression. You said when you were sad and angry. So, and off the top, you said that you were fabulously sad in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So this is not a recent thing. This is
What, the sadness?
yes.
Oh, okay. No, I think I've struggled with, to be honest, like depression and things for a long time. But I'm just honest about it because I don't care what other people think. Because it's cool to be, what's the word? To be real with everyone else, in my opinion. I'd rather not pretend. And you connect, this is what I learned through like songwriting. It's so much easier to write with other people and connect with audiences when you're being honest. When you're pretending, in my opinion, you know, people can tell at times. And even in songwriting sessions, like it's a lot harder to write something that is good if you're not getting in that headspace of being open, which is hard in itself to get into if you're not, you have to practice. It's like a muscle, to be able to communicate with other people in songwriting language and stuff, I think.
When I was listening to some of your music prior to this, to being here tonight, I felt like I was getting an insight into you. It felt, the lyrics and the music felt intensely personal. And so I was going to say, you know, is that intentional? And it seems like, is it a bit of an outlet?
Oh, totally. It's therapeutic. I definitely use songwriting as a form of therapy. Almost always. Other times I'm like, okay, let's just have some fun, you know, which is also therapeutic. Let's just dance. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you were saying you'd like to be honest and vocal about being sad, about mental health elements. Those things figure prominently at all or prominently in your songs?
Yeah. Relationships as well. Queer relationships in particular that I've been in, because I think that there's not a lot of talk about like, or representation of real things in queer relationships in songs. For example, like, you know, sometimes being in queer relationships, you're in relationships in general too, but there can be not a lot of support from like family and friends, especially in like queer relationships.
Okay.
And so a lot of the time in the relationships I've been in, we've relied on each other the most for support. And it can be very strenuous on the relationship. It can be beautiful, but also strenuous, like to not have those other supportive outlets that might be there in different kind of relationships, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Why do you think those supports aren't there?
I think that, well, in the West, we're still working on having that as accessible to queer relationships. There are, at least in Vancouver, I don't know about other cities, there are like specific places you can go for therapy and stuff for queer people. Yeah.
What other elements make queer relationships unique or different? Like, what would be the factors in that?
In music?
In both. Let's start with the relationship itself.
Well, I write music about it using specific pronouns of my partners because there's not a lot of that. Most of the time, like even the queer music that I listen to, most of it's like love songs, straight love songs, or not about the hard stuff a lot of the time. There are indie artists that do that, but it's not a lot.
What's the hard stuff?
Like normal, like like normal things that aren't just good, I love you so much.
Oh, right.
Like, you know, like what about all the fights and things and
Right.
when your family doesn't accept you and stuff for who you are and things like that. Or like, I don't know, there's just...
Yeah.
It is different to me to hear like specific queer stories in music. I feel more of a connection to it at times, but yeah.
And how does a person identify, say, someone like myself who is not hear a song and say, oh, this individual is singing or speaking about a queer relationship? Is it the pronouns other than the obvious things? Is there other signifiers in the music?
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well because, like, I mean, someone could write a song that's queer presenting and not be queer. So I guess you have to know if they come out about it, as well as the pronouns.
Yeah.
Like-
Would that be, how would you feel about that if somebody wrote a queer song about queer relationship and they
Yeah.
were not? Would you feel inauthentic, or would that be like, hey, great, you know, it's more people are talking about this?
Good question. Oh, this is a difficult question because I'm sure that people who aren't queer have helped write songs for queer people that I don't know about. Because like when you go and write a song, sometimes there's multiple songwriters. So it's a good question. I don't know. I've probably already listened to those songs, but it is kind of strange. Say if you aren't queer and you're promoting a song like that, that's kind of weird, I think. Because I don't walk around. I don't know. I don't know.
It's an interesting question, and sometimes when I think about these things, I think about where the person's coming from. Is it a place of authenticity, or is it sensationalism trying to just...
It's also like, can music actually be queer?
Yeah, can it?
I'm asking you.
I'm interviewing you here tonight. Wait a minute.
Not anymore.
Tables have turned. Yeah.
How so?
I asked you that. Well, okay, so here's the question. Where does the importance lay in identifying music as specific to sets of populations? So we're using queer as the example. What if it was Black people? What if it was Indigenous individuals? And then, so in that, how about if I frame it that way? Is that a...
I'm not allowed to swear on here, right?
I don't know.
No.
Definitely.
Okay. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, definitely. That's so weird. It feels like appropriation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
When you put it that way.
It is an interesting conversation, and so then when you made the switch, or you're on the journey of the forms of music, and you always said you have a heart for rock and punk, what made you switch to R&B?
Well, maybe your back starts to hurt after a while, and you're like, oh, no.
Thrashing your head around and jumping around the stage?
I don't want my neck to hurt anymore, so maybe we should just chill dance.
That's a valid reason. I can see that.
I'm tired of the mosh pits. No, I just wanted to try something different. See if I could write songs that are different than what I was used to. It's inspiring to try new things for me. So, and my voice fits more, in my opinion, it fits better with R&B music and stuff. Sometimes you just feel it, you know?
Right. And so you've been doing, if I recall, a year and a half you've been doing it?
Yeah.
And you're feeling it? It's feeling good?
Yeah, it's fun. As long as it's fun. I love it. I love, connecting with people through it, even more so than I was before, I think.
Before, when you were in the other...
Yeah. Yeah. In other projects.
You call it a project.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Projects.
Is this because you're just trying new things and seeing what sticks?
Yeah. Because, people evolve as they get older and things. It's cool. I'm not against evolving and moving on to new projects either.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a way of life, so they're projects.
You said you like connecting with people. It's a good way to connect with people. I was recently speaking with a friend who is a performer on stage, and she said she misses the audience and not the applause, but she misses the connection with individuals because of COVID. And so I wanted to ask you, how's COVID been going for you, or how's the pandemic isolation and the limited performances?
It's very strange doing live stream sets and not having someone to look in the eyes or single out in the crowd and have fun with, but at the same, like, it's like, oh, I'm looking at the comments in the chat while I'm singing. And like, it's so weird, but it's fun too, because you get that little bit of connection still, but it's not the same as in real life for me. But it's also hard not having those shows that you know are going to come around, especially during Pride, where all your friends are going to be at. It's going to be a blast. That's definitely really hard. And even just planning for the future, because like, when are we going to be able to play shows again even, and release music properly, you know, and tour behind that. Like, everything's changed. But it's also a time for like looking within myself, writing, realizing what's actually important in life. So it's okay in that way.
What have you come to realize is actually important?
Oh, my family. But I already knew that anyway.
Just confirmed
even
it?
more, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, verified. Good to know for certain.
That can be hard, though. I mean, we were all locked down in pandemic, and you have those moments where you're sitting alone with your thoughts, and it's like, dang, I gotta go make sourdough bread over here, or whatever it is. But did you have those moments? Are they now forever memorized in song?
Yeah, I guess. Did you have those moments?
We need new rules for the show. Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, for sure. Yeah. I think I talk about if there's ever a silver lining out of any of this, it's what have we done as a society and as individuals.
That's true.
That's what I try to think about. You know, I don't have the artistic talent that you do, and so where would those?
I'm sure you do. Like, I don't think it's really just talent. I think it's just about. Never mind. I'm not going to say it. If you can, anybody can do it.
Well, I can sing and I can definitely write songs, but not that anybody is going to want to hear. I mean, anybody can sing, like, I mean, you know what I mean? So, and this is not, trying to be self-deprecating. I think it's when we talk about the acknowledging the talent, especially when we started this conversation saying, well, I did a little bit of punk and I did a little bit of rock, and now I'm over here on R&B. Plus, I happen to know that you are a multi-instrumentalist, which I do believe means you play many instruments. So there is some talent involved in there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Then just say thank you and be quiet.
What instruments do you play?
Thank you. Just like keys, drums, ukulele, guitar, bass, What else?
Many.
I can't remember.
What was the first
That's
one you
most
played?
Of them. Drums. Because my dad had bought me a drum set. I think it was when I was in high school. My mom was like, "What the heck?" Because I was literally like coming home from school. I would go to soccer practice after this, but I would have like a 2-hour drum session and shake the whole house because it wasn't in the garage. It was in the basement where my room was. And my dad loved it, but my mom was like, "Why did you do this?" You know?
And why did he? Did he? Was this
my-
like? Did he always want to play the drums, so he got them for you? Or?
I think he wanted to do what his parents didn't do for him,
Right.
which was believe in your children. And like growing up, his parents didn't really like him dreaming. And so he's taught me and my brothers that it's okay to dream, and like anything you want to do, you can do it. And so whenever I had band practice, he'd let us practice in the garage. And I was a dumb kid. Like, I would get embarrassed when he'd come, and he would bring us like cooked crab that he had just caught into band practice. And I was like embarrassed about it. Sorry, Dad. You're the best, actually, though.
Family verified.
And he's just always been like that. Like, he bought me my first guitar, too. He's always been really supportive. My mom, too. Like, she loves coming to Pride shows and stuff. And, you know, she just gets all dressed up in all her colors and such. And it's the cutest thing. But, yeah.
So, obviously, parents have been a huge support and influence on you.
Both of them equally, I think. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Where was your dad catching live fresh crab? Where was this happening?
Belcara.
Okay.
It's just like it's in Vancouver. So
Yeah.
it's like
Okay.
around Port Coquitlam or something, or Port Moody. I always get confused about that place.
I'm sure there's people right now going, "There's a big difference."
Okay, you know what? Maybe you can tell me sometime.
There it is. It's an invitation. Yeah.
I only know the hookah lounges in that vicinity.
Interesting. Okay.
Sorry.
So we talked about the instruments. What about the first time performing? How did that come about? Where, when? Tell me all about it.
Right. It was probably back in high school. This is like, it was so embarrassing too, because I took band one year because I had always wanted to learn how to play guitar, but I was too nervous and anxious about being in that class for some reason. But I took it eventually, and the teacher really pushed me to like start singing and stuff. I was like, whoa, I suck, but I'm gonna learn how to sing. So I'd practice every day, and then eventually he got me like singing at lunchtime in the hub. I hope there are no videos of this.
You were the lunchtime act?
Yeah, it was like, it was so, My dad came once too, and he would drum for us too, not my dad, but the teacher. Like, it was so embarrassing, I don't even want it.
This is great,
like
I love this.
It was like the first time I ever performed. But my dad was always proud of me. I was like, what are you doing here? Go home. I was mean.
What were you singing then? Were you singing rock?
Like all cover songs, like Don't Stop Believing, while you're eating your lunch. Who wants to hear this? Nobody. And like Amy Winehouse and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just like classic rock songs too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Amy Winehouse, I mean, talk about an individual who, I guess, kind of R&B, edgy.
Yeah.
some mental health, some substance use issues.
Yep.
Did she have a lasting influence on you and your music?
Well, yeah, I really liked her her singing style, as well as like the production on Back to Black, which
Yeah.
Mark Ronson did. Yeah, definitely that album.
Who else?
Back in like
Who else?
growing up?
Yeah, just in terms, when you think back and either watching or hearing to say, yeah, I want to do that, or influencing you as you write and perform.
I think the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill definitely had a lasting impression on me, and like I listened to that. It's one of the only albums, along with like the Fugees and things like that, that I can still listen to today.
Mm-hmm.
Where other things that I was obsessed with, let's say like the Strokes and the Arctic Monkeys, like I don't listen to that on the daily anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely Lauryn Hill, Janelle Monáe,
Mm-hmm.
And into like newer artists like Kehlani now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but back in the day, it was very mixed because my mom always liked like reggae music and like dancing music, and my dad liked the rock. So it was like, oh, Foreigner and Bob Marley? What the heck? So very confused child, but cool, you know. It's fun to switch up back and forth.
Can we expect then that you're going to have a reggae project?
Oh, I'm not sure about that. Not sure about that. Maybe.
So we were talking about in times of in quarantine and the impact that it has on your writing. So have you struggled at all with writing or with the process or with this introspection that you've been doing and not making sourdough bread? Are you? Is it outpouring for you?
It did at the beginning. Now I'm in kind of like almost going back into outpouring again. It's just like a cycle, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You have those cycles of inspiration or whatever. It's never just like, oh, go, go, go. It's always like, climb the mountain, get to the top, and then you drop again. You're like, oh, then you have to restart.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that, and it's still happening during quarantine for me. So,
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that the outpouring will come again pretty soon. It's very hard for my partner because when that happens, like it's hard for me to think of anything else.
When the outpouring happens.
Yeah, when that happens.
Yeah.
So I'd like wake up at like 8 and then go to sleep at, I don't know, 3 to be honest, working on music. They're like, I never see you anymore. So, but I'm looking forward to when that happens again. Probably when I go back home after this.
Do you worry about it? Like, you hear about novel writers, you know, this intense, like, I've got to get this next book out, or they're halfway through. Is it something that is, when you're not in the outpouring, is kind of in the back of your mind where you're kind of like, okay, any minute now, let's do it?
You mean like writer's block or pushing yourself to meet deadlines?
Pushing yourself to meet deadlines.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of weird right now where deadlines have been pushed back a little bit. So it's definitely given me more space to not have to push as hard.
Mm-hmm.
But in during normal times, I think there's definitely a healthy balance between pushing yourself and giving yourself leeway. But sometimes, if you don't push yourself, you don't get that crazy that gets things done and creates something cool out of your mania. I don't know if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Do you describe those moments as mania? Like when you're up at 8 and going to bed at 3?
No, that's normal.
I like the before we said outpouring, I prefer. But we did touch, sorry to make you uncomfortable, but we
I'm
touched
not
a little bit
uncomfortable
about on mental health in general and talking about your mental health.
Yeah.
How does it operate for you? Does it operate in peaks and valleys?
In terms of like just my mental health?
Yes, yeah.
Definitely. Similar to creativity, I think. Yeah, thinking about it like right now, it feels like they're intertwined a little bit.
So are you intertwined, or the outpouring when you're on a peak? So you're writing lots when you're in a peak, or?
It's weird because when I'm on a peak, but are you talking about like when I'm happy?
Well, is that what a peak is for you?
No, I like happiness and sadness like the same. Like, because you can't have one without the other, in my opinion. And like,
You can't know that you're
Yeah.
happy if you haven't been sad?
yeah, that kind of thing. And like, I like crying and stuff. It's fun. No. No. The only thing I don't like about crying is just like when your sinuses start to hurt and stuff. But it feels good to release just a different kind of energy. But I look at them very similar because it's all connected. Not to sound hippie or anything, but it's just similar energies at the end of the day that I don't want to hold in.
And so to not hold them in, or how you get them out is through your writing then? Is it?
Yeah, totally. Whether it's about happy stuff or sadness. It's chill.
What, for anyone who's watching here tonight, what would you want them to know about Biawanna and the music? I should say before, you're performing tomorrow night at Friends of Dorothy. Showtime is at 7 o'clock. I strongly encourage you to check this out. Check out all the shows. It's incredible, QUSIC. But just as a little primer, what would you want people to know about you as an individual as they're standing there watching you perform on the stage?
Just that I'm human, and if you connect with my music, you're not alone, and like I just appreciate that. I appreciate you, and I don't know. Things will be okay. That's what I have to say.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for the conversation tonight. I really,
Yeah, no
I
worries.
appreciate you and your honesty in being so candid and redirecting questions back at me. This is Voices Unheard for tonight. I'd like to say thank you so much to the Canada Kelowna Hotel for hosting us here, as well as sponsors Kelowna Pride and Castanet. Don't forget, you can see Biawanna tomorrow at Friends of Dorothy, and we will be back here next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Have a great night.